Oh, and we're live at least an hour early than we thought that we might be, but here we are, nevertheless. Guys, I mean, the first question that I absolutely have to ask both of you, how do you define a game like that? I mean, Gurkirat, if you want to take the lead here and then Nikhil just chip in. What was that, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little bit like how it was during the 2021 World T20, where we saw pitch changing in the second half quite a lot. And this was something that I think both of us had discussed that it could become the case in the second half, which is why it could actually be a good toss to lose. Having said that, yeah, I mean there was a decent amount of grip and help for spinners in the first half, but I still feel uh, England batters could have done better, maybe posted around 320, 325. But the way Rachin and Conway batted may not have made any difference.
Yep, absolutely. Nikhil, do you echo those thoughts? I mean, is it only the conditions, or uh, are there any other things to read here apart from change in conditions?
No, I'm just glad England have been England by New Zealand, which is very good to see. This is as bad or as embarrassing as a loss can be. That a team with only 12 people to pick from, three main bowlers, and then they are able to not just outbat but outbowl and outsmart you with tactics as well. So I think a very very comprehensive win in terms of. I don't think any one of us saw this coming. So props to Tom Latham and Glenn Phillips and the entire setup to be able to feel that nahi, this will get better to bat, and that's what it eventually turned out to be. But still, to be able to do it in the convincing manner, I don't think they gave England any chance. So this is as ruthless as it can get. And what a right start for the World Cup.
अब मैं तो बोलूंगा कि मैंने तो हमेशा ही कहा था कि न्यूजीलैंड आर गोना विन दिस गेम, बट ठीक है, वी विल सेव इट फॉर लेटर बिकॉज आई एम श्योर आई एम गोना बी एम्बैरेस्ड समवेयर लेटर इन द टूर्नामेंट. So I mean, let's just look at the summary of the game. I mean, it's like you guys have said, it's a fairly one-sided encounter where England scored 282. We were discussing among ourselves during the mid innings that probably England left a few runs out there. Of course, everyone would have read Gurkirat's tweet there as well, guys. But I mean, looking back at Gurkirat, how many runs do you think England should have scored in order to remain in the game? Probably even 400 would have been chaseable by the scheme of things. Oh,
Oh, thank you for the classic.
Yeah, but then there's the scoreboard pressure that comes in with the 400. But I
absolutely.
think realistically, given how the conditions were, 320, 325 should have been made, because you have to look at the England batters. Almost all of them got starts. Bairstow was looking good. Root actually scored a 70 odd. Butler was looking fantastic. He was actually going at a run of ball, and he had the lowest false percentage of shots. And you felt even Livingston could have done better. And then uh, they just collapsed out of nowhere. And if it had not been the last wicket partnership, this game could have ended in 30 overs, and that would have been a massive dent on the net run rate. uh, yeah, I'd say some credit would also have to be given to Latham, because Latham did not try to save the overs of his three main bowlers for the last 10. He recognized the opportunities. He knew that he would have to keep taking wickets given the kind of bowling he had at his disposal, and he was smart enough with it. If I'm not wrong, in the first 40 overs he had bowled 25 overs combined of Bolt, Henry, and Santner. Now that is proactive captaincy, and I like that fact. It may have worked, it may not have worked, but it was still playing the right percentages. England would probably look back at the short selection that they had with the bat, but like I said in the beginning, I don't think even that 325 would have made much of a difference. 350 maybe would have brought in some scoreboard pressure, but again, just how flawless batting that was there on display. And the pitch just became as if you were batting on a surface of concrete. True bounce ball coming in straight lines, but you still have to bat well, so you can't take that credit away from both the batters. But yeah, England would they would be disappointed with the bat, with how they batted, but I'm not sure if that would have changed the result as such, given how conditions change and how they bowled.
Nikhil, the point that Gurkirat made about Latham's captaincy and him front loading his three main bowlers. Now, looking back to when England were bowling, you saw Sam Curran bowling four good overs up top, and then of course they had to introduce Mark Wood as a first change bowler. Then immediately they resorted to all spin, and Sam Curran was never brought back. Do you think? Yeah, I mean, this is somewhere following this a template of captaincy of where to bring a bowler in also did hurt England, or was the game and the conditions beyond par? I mean, was there anything left for them to sort of achieve?
No, I think it is something that they tried to do in terms of let's get other bowlers in. I think they were completely put off by the attack to Vokes. He's the guy who they look for discipline and wickets up top. Okay, even if he's not getting wickets, you at times felt that Sam is bowling on a different wicket as compared to Vokes. Sam was probably hitting the right length. Vokes was probably too full or wide at times. So I think once they did not get the wickets from that end, Joss was then just looking for that first breakthrough at all point of time. Okay, let me get there, let me get there, let me get there. Because with Sam also sometimes you feel okay, with the lesser pace, you don't want him to be hit along because then you're denting his confidence as well. So I think the it was the first 10 overs that really set the tone for New Zealand, and I think I also felt again, just me, that they had to bring in Wood earlier than they needed. It was because of the attack. So and Wood is also somewhere with pace. If like we saw in the first innings when the at the in the later stages the ball was covered up. You saw Bolt using it well, Henry using it well, but that was never going to be the case with Wood. Now, had this been a different wicket or England bowling first, then Wood would have been far more dangerous with that scuffed up ball because he would get uneven bounce. But because he was coming on to the bat even better, and the moment he missed these lines, New Zealand just, as I said, New Zealand just did what England wanted to do all the time, that they transferred all the pressure onto England and then they just waited. Because England, like we've discussed this in the previous well, that they are a side that relies more on the batting to carry them through. Their bowling is something that is not going to give you confidence on most days if the conditions are flat. So this was just probably the right lesson to learn very, very early, probably in a harsh way, but let's see how they react to this.
Hmm. Coming to Gurkirat, next to you, is this the bowling display that England had today? Is this sort of an eye opener, because this is something that we discussed in the mega previews as well, that England's bowling attack on numbers they don't look as strong. Uh, all of their pacers collectively before this did not even play 10 ODIs in India, and even in the handful of ODIs they played here, all of them went above 6.2 economy rate and over. So, do you think that the X factor sort of a bowler, which who can hit the wicket hard but also can seam, because they have a couple of swing bowlers and then they have Marco who can hit the deck. But are they missing a seam bowler with high pace, which is I think essentially needed in conditions like India? Yeah, Gurkira, if you can hear me.
Okay, I thought it was for Nikhil. See, we this was something that we discussed in the preview, like you mentioned, that their bowling can come under pressure if they don't get wickets up with the new ball, and if that doesn't happen, a lot of pressure will then come on Adil Rashid and Wood. And like how Nikhil mentioned, that when Wood lost his line, then it became all the more difficult. And with Adil Rashid also not getting any help early on, because he was also then brought in far more earlier than what he would have liked. So it was a cascading effect of sorts. Vokes getting hit, him not getting his lines right. You bring in Wood not getting his lines right. So then you had to bring in Rashid, and then it just became one-way traffic. England kept trying to look for answers, and see, they couldn't really find anyone to even stop the flow of runs. Even Moeen Ali went at 6 runs and over, which you could say is not as bad given how others went, but there was no one really to even bowl an over where they could just string up a few dots. That really did not happen. There were only two maidens, and both of them were bowled by Sam Curran. So yeah, this was something I think even Akshay brought up in the preview, where he said that In terms of defensive bowling, England also don't have a lot of options because Adil Rashid is an attacking spinner. You look at Mark Wood to attack, but when conditions are not like that or the match situation is not like that, where do you go from there then? So yeah, I think this first game, how it has panned out for England is somewhat wherein we all discussed as to what could be the worst scenario for England. And
Hmm.
so it may not be the worst thing to get that kind of a game out in the first fixture itself, because now from here on you know what all you need to address.
Hmm. Hey,
Just on that point though, this is not a case of everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. This is something that you feared can go wrong on most days for them on flat
yeah.
decks. So
Hmm.
I think that distinction is also there. That it's not just about things not going your way. It's about it is something that's there on a level where you always felt okay, this is what is going to trouble you, and it has happened very early. So maybe in that sense, of course, it does help them. That let's see how they react to this in the future games.
Yeah, I mean, actually, very interesting point from Nikhil there, because if you break it into two innings like it is, if you look at them with the bat, there was only 150-run partnership. You always know that if you're going to over attack, there will be times when you will end up with an under par total, which happened today and which will happen often. With the bowling attack, you always knew that if the ball is not moving around, and if it is not gripping for Adil Rashid either, the bowling attack also will come under pressure. So yeah, I mean, teams might say that yeah, it's good to get this game out of our system, as we've often heard India say this time and again, and many of the IPL teams say so as well. But in England's case, I think there were there are some errors that are always there, which are now being sort of glorified in this game. With that, I think we'll move on to the next section, which is the top performer of the match. The officially Rachin Ravindra, I must say, is being given the player of the match. But I would like to hear from you before that. Up sting hai to chalani padegi. Wait. Yep. So top performer, both of you. Maybe Nikhil, you can go first. But before that, please, 29 people who are watching, do like the stream if you're happy with the result. Do like the stream if you want the team that you are supporting to go on and win the World Cup. Please do it if you've not done so already. Nikhil, who was the top performer of the game according to you?
Yeah, my smile tells you everything. But I'm just glad that we were able to read the game very well
Yeah.
as a unit in terms of we called Sandner, Paji called Sandner taking wickets, and I think it's the skill of Sander just shown through right through that spell where even to Bairstow, who had gotten a good start, he was able to beat him in the air, then cramp him for room, and then eventually found a way to get him out. Even the last ball that he bowled to Vokes, last ball of his spell, he's tempting it wide, wanting him to hit, and Vokes falls for it, and then he has a good catch to end with those figures. So I think Santer did well, but I think it's the confidence with which Rachin batted. It just allowed Conway to take his time, because losing Will Young to that kind of dismissal, you will feel, oh, suddenly if they lose Conway here trying to attack, this could really get tricky. But the confident manner in which Rachit started the innings, of course, helped by his previous knock in the warm-up game, where we've seen him do this before, and so the good thing about it is all, again, as you said, normal orthodox cricket shots. There was nothing fancy or risky being tried. If the ball is there to be hit, it's being hit. I think that just really set the tone for Conway also, that okay, he's taken off. Now I'm just reacting to the ball. So I think while Conway did end up being the top scorer, I felt Rachid had a very good hand to play, even though second fiddle it was. But I think the the partnership grew because of that initial burst of boundaries from his end.
Yep. Okay. So, Gurkha, do you agree with Nikhil's thoughts there, or do you have a different player of the match, so to speak?
No, I pretty much agree. I just want to add a few nitbits about New Zealand's bowling.
Mm.
Today, you will also have to give some credit to Bolt, because Bolt had a did not have the opening burst that you usually associated with him. He had, I think he went for 30 odd or more than 30 runs in his
Yeah.
first 5 overs, but then he came
33.
back
Yeah.
very well in his second spell, and got
Yeah.
that again important wicket of Livingston. So the bowlers kept chipping in. I don't know how much to read into Phillips' bowling, because I feel that England helped his cause a little bit and allowed helped Latham as well with their short selections over there. But whether you talk about Henry or you talk about Bolt, see, it's not easy to, when you are only a three-man bowling attack. It could rarely get to you, and sometimes while trying to do that, you could just be a little more extra aggressive and try and overcompensate for it. But that did not happen even with Matt Henry in that opening spell. He kept bowling in that corridor where you know he knew that that was the way to probably get Malan. And Malan on a couple of occasions was trying to take a step down and reach to the pitch of the delivery. But and sometimes, like I said, sometimes when your strength is you want to get wickets up front, you could end up bowling a lot fuller, and then those balls could become very drivable balls, and you could end up not bowling tightly, or giving more boundary opportunities. So I think a lot of credit will have to be given to Bolt for his second spell and Henry's overall spell. On the batting front and how Rachin batted, Nikhil pretty much summed it up well. But yeah, both the Pacers deserve a lot of credit also for the
Yeah.
way they kept coming back and chipping in with those wickets.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
can we can also credit Tom Latham there, because I think Paji did touch upon it in the first bit about this is the template that is going to work for sides bowling first. That if you're not confident about your bowling, or you feel you don't know what the par score is, just front load your bowling as much as possible, because taking wickets is the best way to keep the runs down. There are very few batting lineups that are as deep. So for New Zealand to be able to keep that batting lineup to that score with just three main bowlers, I think it just tells a lot about the planning that goes in, and the way Latham gets in Henry to Butler, he gets the wicket. And again, that plan also was so good that he had left a gap at third man, wanted him Butler to hit there, and then Henry just keeps chipping away at the channel, and then there's one too close and he gets a wicket. He gets Phillips on first ball, he gets Root. First ball, he earlier got Moeen Ali. So I think it's just those very well planned things executed well. So I think it was a very good day for them as a unit overall as well.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
just another bit on this. There will be days when front loading like this will not work, and then you will start hearing criticism for this. So you could have saved your these and these bowlers for the end, etc., etc. But like I said initially, you have to play the percentages, because if these guys take wickets, then it makes the job easier for your part timers, and it becomes easier for you to rotate your part timers as well. But if you are trying to look to get overs out of part timers first, by the time those death overs arrive, the opposition has already killed the game. So this may not work each and every time, but it is still the more percentage way to go about things when you are looking for wickets in the middle overs.
yeah, I mean, this is exactly opposite to what we talk about batting, right? We often say that why to wait for certain death overs to go gang bang wallop and still end up with a par score, because that leaves that means you're asking your lower order to do the heavy lifting. So similarly, if you have bowlers which can get you crucial wickets at that moment, when then why wait for them to bowl at the death? I mean, you guys spoke about quite a few players. Trent bowled, like Gurkirat said, first 5 overs. I just want to read a few stats right now. First 5 overs, he went for 33 for no wicket, and the last five, he scored only he gave away only 15 and took that one wicket. Mitchell Sandon, of course, on a day like this, went for only 37 runs. What was good about him was the speeds at which he bowled. He bowled at around 8 miles per hour slower than Rachin Ravindra, who went for a lot of runs. I can add. Uh, Moving on to our next section, which is called the turning point of the game. And again, we'll have to wait a minute. Yep. Any obvious turning points here, guys, or was it the toss?
I feel Butler's wicket was the biggest turning point,
Yeah.
because that wicket at that point of time held back England. Butler was batting very well. If he had batted till the end, this could have easily been a 340, 350 score, and maybe things would have been different if that would have happened.
Yeah, I think I agree with Gurgirat there. What do you feel, Nikhil? Your answer is the same, nothing different.
No difference. It is you have to have one such instance in every video. Yes.
Absolutely, and in fact, I mean, to be honest, just to go back to the last section, my player of the game, so to speak, is uh, Matt Henry, because on a game like
Yeah.
like this, his spell actually created that defining difference. If we can say that, of course, Ravindra. Why am I calling him Ravindran? I don't know. Rachin Ravindra came out of syllabus and literally steamrolled England.
True.
Uh, Before we talk about in other things, I mean, what else to talk about? Yeah, there is Joe Root. Joe Root. I mean, we spoke
Yep.
about him not being in good form recently. He played a good knock. I mean,
Yep.
any thoughts on his innings today?
Yeah, I think I personally expected him to be able to give himself time and do well, and which is what he did. And I'm very glad that he was able to put off a very good knock. And again, the bit about that scoop that he placed Trent Bolt, that reverse that he also played to Ravindran. Now the thing with this is, again, it is something that will always be debatable. That does he have more options versus Glenn Phillips? Does he have to go for that option? Now it is something that is always going to be debatable. Okay, if you are a good sweeper, you are able to loft well and you can drive well as well. Do you really want to go down that route? I think in that moment he was just outsmarted by Glenn Phillips in terms of the anticipation that Phillips had, that if he goes for that, let me bowl too full for him to try it. So I think till that point of time, Root did get most of his shots pretty much spot on, and I think that England will be very happy with that kind of thing, that they were able to go hard at the other end because Root was still able to hold an end up. I think his partnership with Butler really told you that okay, if now these two are set till the end, they just had to play out Henry and Bolt better in their second spell. So I think that's where England will probably go back and rue that a lot of those dismissals were not always the bowler skills or just things happening. They were a bit of maybe going hard too early, or what is the right choice of shot. So I think with Root coming good, that query is a bit solved for England. That okay, if he can keep, and he's someone like Conway, once he gets a score, you see him getting consistent runs, and it's very risk-free cricket. But now I don't think it's always risk-free cricket. So that is something that I'm very interested to see. Okay, how is he? What is his short selection going forward?
Hmm. Gurkirat, was Root the only positive for England, or was there anything else as well?
You could say so. Roots runs the biggest positive in today's game, and yeah, like how Nikhil was mentioning, pretty much risk free cricket. I felt he was batting very well, and that debate on those shots. I think he was recently asked in a podcast or somewhere where he said that he averages some, I don't know, I don't remember the figure, but he was averaging quite high with that reverse, or reverse lap,
Yeah.
or whatever he plays. So I'm of the view that if a batter has confidence in pulling off a shot, and that batter is getting decent amount of success with it, you can't then hold that shot against that batter, that, oh, did he really have to play that? It's like how uh, the scoop used to work so well for AB de Villiers, Dilshan, and we have seen how the scoop works so well for Surya Kumar Yadav. Now if
Hmm.
it doesn't work on one fine day, you can't really say, oh, maybe that was not a percentage shot, because those percentages are defined by how confident the batter is in pulling off that shot, and how well he's doing it. So Root's been
Hmm.
able to do it quite fairly, but there will be days. I mean, Virat Kohli gets out playing the cover drive, Rohit Sharma gets out playing the pull shot, but you can't really ask them not to play it. So it's just a mindset thing, where when we see a unorthodox shot, we our mind just goes, oh, maybe this is too risky, but it's not as risky as what we might think.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Root said that his average with the scoop is a lot more than his average with the forward defense. So yeah, that's that. I mean, we cannot not talk about the Conway Ravindra partnership. I mean, I have three stats on top of my mind. One is both of these hundreds are the fastest hundreds for New Zealand in the World Cup. Conway also went on to become the fastest 2,000 runs for a New Zealand cricketer. He reached there with a six. And as Gurkirat has pointed out in our chat, this was also the second best partnership for New Zealand ever. So, I mean, quite a happy day for New Zealand out there, guys. So, if I recall correctly, neither of you had New Zealand in their top four, or because I did. Oh, Nikhil did. Gurkirat didn't. No,
No, no, no.
Gurkirat.
I don't have him. I don't have them, but it's okay. एक game say I'm not going to read.
मैं वही पूछना चाह रहा हूँ कि do you want to have a
My,
relook,
my
or are you still comfortable with it?
Mine and Nikhil's top was the same, and
Uh,
What
yeah,
was that? If you want to remind the viewers, although we have it on record, so you can't change it now.
India, England, Australia, and South Africa.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the battle here for most is the fourth spot only. कि न्यूजीलैंड है कि साउथ अफ्रीका है कि पाकिस्तान है तो
Oh, अच्छा
अगेन
मेरा इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया न्यूजीलैंड लॉक है, मेरा फोर्थ स्पॉट फिर बाकियों के बीच में था. ठीक है. Let's see.
या
Uh, Talking about next games now, both of these teams have a relatively uh, easier game to so to speak. New Zealand are playing Netherlands. That game is in Hyderabad. England are playing Bangladesh, which is easier because of the venue. It's being played at Dharamshala and it's a day game. Guys, what are the obvious changes that you feel that these teams should do moving into the next game?
see, when we were talking about England in the preview, I had a question to ask to Nikhil, where I felt that is there a possibility that Moeen Ali could miss the 11 if he doesn't score runs or doesn't contribute with the ball? Now, one game's really a little too much to get skeptical about someone's spot, but if England are to strengthen their batting, because I'm not sure if they can really strengthen their bowling too much, or if they want to maybe that they could bring in Willie if they want another seam up option, or they could bring in Topley depending upon that. So depending upon the fact what they feel, if they feel like they want to strengthen their batting with Stokes being fit, or if they feel like they want to strengthen their bowling in Dharamshala by bringing in a Topley or a Willie, I feel someone like Moeen Ali will have to make way for that player. Otherwise, as well, his numbers haven't been great, but we can't deny, and it's something that the England team has gone on record and said that his presence allows the others to bat a lot more freely. But it's been some time where he's not really scored a decent amount of runs, and I think with the ball, Livingston and Root can do the job
Hmm.
on most days, unless it's a proper turner, or where you feel that Moen's drift is something which could really be a differentiator. I think on flat pitches it's more or less going to be the same, and in terms of defensive spin, I think Livingston can do the job.
और भाई कितने runs चाहिए भाई? This became the first time ever when your all 11 got into double figures. So England are literally batting at till number 11. So they might
Yeah,
as well
that's what I'm saying.
add a better bowler. Yeah.
So this is this batting till number 10 and everyone getting into double figures but still not crossing 300. It just brings
Yeah.
the point that I many times make about England, is that yes, they have depth, yes, they have variety in both batting and bowling, but not always will it compensate for quality. You can
Hmm.
have all the options, but quality भी आपको चाहिए. तो नहीं, oh, light was clashing. It was leaving some glare, so decided to lower the light. ये चेहरे पे
Well,
ग्लो काफी है यार, मतलब
yes.
it should be fine.
Yeah, Nikhil. So about New Zealand, I think they had only 13 fit men to select, or even 12
yeah
fit men to select. So
yeah
what what do you think about them? We spoke about Jimmy Neesham. His bowling average has now crossed 300. It was
yeah
260 before this game.
Yeah, see, the form of Rachit gives them that confidence also that they could possibly not play him. And if Loki is fit, I think he got a niggle at the last moment. So they'll hope that he's fit. Then if he's fit, he comes in straight away for Jimmy in that sense. So I think that will just make it better. Keen to see if Kane is fit, because then that will mean that we'll have to change a few places, because I don't see Rachin getting dropped from here. So and there is no need to do that. I mean, he's
Yeah,
just being the
absolutely.
perfect foil.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Very just keen to say if they drop William again,
Yeah.
today's dismissal may not be something to really rely on that. So I think a few calls to be made there, but again, they are playing in Hyderabad, so they will want to play uh, Sodi maybe if he's fit. So I think there again, New Zealand is a side who I feel they are very practical in that sense.
Hmm.
So I think they are also someone who get conditions and They're able to adapt to surfaces because of the planning, which is very meticulous. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting that from them. Okay, Loki या सोडी में से कोई एक could come back
Yeah.
depending on the fitness and the availability. And if Kane is back, very keen to see how they slot that top four then, because then
Hmm.
you don't want Latham and all to come too deep or
Yeah.
Ravindran to bat at four. So that is still a much better headache to have than what I
Yeah.
think
Absolutely.
England have,
Hmm. Hmm.
because you're playing Bangladesh in Dharamshala. And I think teams should really, if today is not the day you make notes of how to attack England, every team has to just really go after England. That
Hmm.
look to take wickets. It's okay if you concede. See, you will any which ways concede runs, but
Yeah.
in the process of maybe if you're planning also decently well for those wickets, you could really keep them to a below par score, and then that gives you some chance in that sense. So and day game hai, so hopefully the likes of Shanto, Ridoy, Mahmudullah, Rahim, everybody can step up, and Shakib is likely to play that game. So hopefully I've not seen two losses for England early, but it could really set the game up if they are able to push them in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having a lot of comments. Sanjay uh, going on to say if England lose one more game in the next 2-3, this World Cup gets more interesting.
Yeah,
Fair point that, and I think it's time for us to take a few more comments. But guys,
yeah,
before we do it, 46 of you watching. This number was up to 54 just a
yeah.
while back. So please go and like this stream, subscribe to our channel, and spread the word. We will be around reviewing all the games in depth throughout this World Cup. Of course, I mean, England, New Zealand playing after what happened in the 2019 World Cup, boundary count was something that everyone was noticing. New Zealand won fair and square, despite batting 15 overs, 12 overs fewer than
Yeah.
England.
82
This
balls
is
left. Yeah.
yeah, this is a good question by Rajesh. Gurkira, your thoughts here? Do you think this is going to be a bowl first win the match sort of a tournament?
Too early to say. This could probably be that venue, maybe, but otherwise,
Hmm.
I don't think we can say the same for all venues,
All the
because
venue.
I'm confident Chennai and Hyderabad will be different. So yeah, I don't think we can say this straight away. Maybe Delhi could also be different. See,
Yeah.
sometimes even when there is dew, the pitch is not the pitch is slow enough that that batting may still not be as easy. So this could be a venue centric thing, but I don't think it could be a tournament thing that you just win the toss, bowl first, and win the match.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely. Melville saying Nikhil got its MVP prediction 100% right. I mean, Nikhil is used to all of this by now.
That.
Yeah, Paras Arora is already getting a little
Uh,
excited about the crucial clash. Does this mean if Pakistan chase in Ahmedabad, they can easily win? Nikhil, अभी से पाकिस्तान इंडिया वाले मैच का डर सताने लग गया है लोगों को.
नहीं नहीं यार, we are not the broadcaster that will talk about them in every game,
मेरे
but
मुंह की नीच छीनी. I was going to say this
they,
कि we
they,
are
they,
not
they, they,
supposed
they were talking about India's net sessions during the mid innings break, and I was like, "कि भाई मतलब ऐसा मत करो यार."
no, no, which is why I'll keep it very short. I think India still have a better bowling attack, and you will expect them to do better. And again, if they are not batting well in the first innings, then of course Pakistan will chase it. I don't know if it will be easily, but hopefully it's a good game. Is all that I'll say for now.
Hmm. And Nikhil, Raja Human has a question specifically for you. And NRR is a
Yeah.
plays a key role in points table. It means blah blah blah. Some teams collapse with that in mind. So, what do you think teams should do? They should go for NRR first or winning the match first?
See, I think it is always about getting into position to be able to win the match first. And then when you find an opportunity that, yes, there is a chance for us to do this very, very quickly, then you go for it. Because again, the point about collapse is it's also the timing, right? When you are able to see that, okay, the batting conditions are such that, okay, I can get the next maybe 50, 60 runs quickly, then is where you have to then go for it. And you have to also see the amount of time left in the game and what is the ease at which you are scoring the runs. So I don't think it is as easy for any team to just bat for the net run rate directly. So it's about what is left in your tank and whether you are chasing or whatever that is. Like if it was for England, they could have tried delaying this, but it wouldn't have mattered because the conditions were such. And the way those two were going, they could have easily sent in a Glenn Phillips at after a fall of a wicket and asked him to keep going for it. So I think you first get into a position to win, and then you can try that. Okay, if you are able to push for the NRR, great. And that's what we saw even today. That they took their time, got the majority of the chunk out, and then they went for the big shots.
Yep. And we cannot not talk about this, guys. Santosh Udupa saying turning point of the game was when
Arey,
fans actually turned up for second innings and made the numbers better. Now Gurkirat. Shambles, wasn't it? I mean, first game of the World Cup, two top teams playing, nearly an empty stadium for the better part of the first innings. I mean, we always knew that Ahmedabad uh, as a primary venue is sort of being force fit, but this just proves the point yet again, right?
See, more than that, I don't think you've given the fans the right chance or the right opportunity to even reach to the stadiums. So I will not blame the fans first, because uh, if the schedule is going to come out so late, you are
Yeah,
going to need to.
we are not blaming the fans at all here, guys.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to come out with the schedule so late, you're going to make it difficult for the traveling fans as well. And when I talk about traveling fans, I'm not just talking about fans from outside of India. I'm talking about fans who wanted to travel pan India for games. You're not making things easier for them. And I saw screenshots which said that there were tickets available for today's game as well.
Yeah.
And early on, all Ahmedabad games were being shown as sold out. So that is a problem there. You did not allot all the tickets that you could have had to fans, and then all the other issues with schedule coming out late and everything late. Also, if we are being very practical, I don't think it's easy to fill a stadium of 1.3 lakh people for a non-India game, that too on a weekday. So maybe to avoid that, it could have been done at a different stadium. It could have been, outside of Eden and Ahmedabad. There is no other stadium which has a capacity of more than 50,000. So it could have been done at other and any other stadium for you to at least get the feel. Okay, that the game's beginning to packed crowds.
Hmm.
And again, I think the last time when the host did not play the first game was in '96, and now. So a lot of factors have gone into this. It doesn't paint a good picture. It doesn't really look good, but I think now it's gone beyond the point where you can talk about if it really paints a good picture or not, because the credibility right throughout the process of ticketing, schedule, and everything has taken a massive hit, even amongst Indian fans. So you can't really expect others to turn up. You just hope that someday there's a sea change where fans are actually cared about. You also saw seats which were still dirty in Hyderabad and now in Ahmedabad. So it doesn't feel good as being a fan as well. But I mean, I don't know what else to say, because we've criticized this enough, but the change really doesn't happen.
Yeah, so coming to Nikhil now, now since the tickets were already available today for the game, do you think a lot this data would have been available with the organizers long back? They would have known it for more than a week now that the tickets are not getting full to the brim. So, do you think enough was done to ensure that at least the stadium is packed? Once you've sold the tickets and you know that certain tickets are not getting sold, maybe try to market it better, or try to be a little inclusive, try to bring some students in, maybe, or people from different you know spheres of life, who can sort of, it'll be a very good opportunity for them. It'll provide an opportunity for the game as well to spread, because empty stadiums, I mean, they don't really paint a very good picture, right?
Yeah, but for that, I think the word that we often use for players is also true for organizers, and that's intent. Okay, you have to have that intent to be also giving that justice to not just the fan but also the game. So as Pajit touched upon, the schedule, the fixture, where you are playing this game, what is the dynamic here? You could have easily started this game in an Eden Gardens or a Wankhede World Cup venue previously. So there are many things that can be done as long as you have the intent to do them. So as you rightly said, if they knew tickets were available today, this would have been known to them earlier. Surely they see, if you want to do, you can always find ways to do things. So I'm just hoping that today is the day that they realize that okay, there are things that are still to be done. The disappointing thing was it was said to be a sold out, And again, it's not the problem of fans. If you don't have a shade, that scorching heat, nobody's going to come up. So
Hmm.
you'll have to think of the fans in that sense as well. That would you, as a person, go out and sit in that heat for so long? Maybe not. So again, you have to think of all of this. Maybe have this as a different venue. Have the ground which has a shade so that they can not mind bringing anybody else in also at the last moment. That okay, let's get kids in, and again all of that. And again, it's a weekday. We're starting the
Yeah.
World Cup on a weekday in a venue that's also far from the city. So there are just various factors. And again, as long as they have the intent, hopefully they'll do what's needed to also make it look good.
Yeah, and it was a massive game. I mean, you have finalists of the previous World Cup playing. It's not as if you're starting with some minnows. Not that there are any minnows in this World Cup, given it's a 10 team event anyway. Moving on, talking about more of the gameplay rather than the theatrics. Pranav Anand, as usual, very active in the comments. Pranav, please like the stream if you've not done so already. I mean, this is something that we discussed in the preview, but for Pranav's sake and for the sake of other viewers as well, Gurkirat, if you want to take a pass, if you want to take a pass at this question, how was chasing difficult in the IPL? We saw teams regularly losing 2-3 wickets in the power play only.
I think the timings played a part. We saw wickets being lost even when teams were bowling first, and the timings. And it's something that we had touched upon in the preview also, that the second innings will probably start at around 6:30, and the ball may not swing as much as what it would at 7:30 or 8. And by the time you reach that point where you can get the movement, the batters will be settled on the crease, and it may not be as easy to pick up those wickets. So probably those times made a difference at the times at which the games were starting. So yeah, but otherwise we saw that even when batters were settled post the power play, they could score runs. And it's not that scores weren't chased. uh, Gujarat chased against CSK in that inaugural game, and then Chennai chased in the final. And it was not a small score, 171 in 15 overs. Then even when there was that qualifier too, with Shubman Gill scoring a century, we felt that Mumbai were in the chase till the time Surya
Yeah.
Kumar Yadav got out. So I think those timings made an issue with ball swinging in at that point of time, with batters being new at the crease.
Yeah. Ankur is want to ask both Nikhil and Gurkirat. Too early to speak, but this big win over England almost books New Zealand a place in the semis. Ankur, we've discussed this. Both Nikhil and Gurkirat are gonna stick with not New Zealand, not in their top four. Meanwhile, you can like this stream. Uh, yeah, we cannot talk about this. We cannot not talk about this. I'm sorry. Transfer window, guys. Ravindra for Ravindra. I mean, what would be the appropriate time to start the IPL chatter? Because of course, I mean, he's getting a bid for sure.
100%. He's getting a bit from Punjab, not work there, and then come to some other side and then beat Punjab.
Yeah, or maybe
That
yeah,
is that
maybe
is the
it,
norm.
it, it it happens to RCB as well quite often. But yeah, he'll
Yeah.
take it for Punjab as of now. Okay, I think with that we have discussed pretty much whatever was left to discuss from this fairly one-sided encounter. Hopefully, we see a lot of close games moving forward, and this does not turn out to be a win the toss and chase kind of a tournament. Uh, we have good, solid 55 people watching, who have stuck with us throughout the 40 odd minutes, guys. Please like this stream, subscribe to our channel. Like I said, we'll be here for all games. Previews start every day at 1:25 unless it's a Saturday. In that case, the preview starts at 9:55 because we have double headers on Saturday. And whenever the day ends, we'll be here reviewing the show. And for all India games, there will be a mid innings review as well. So please stay tuned. Uh, Thanks Nikhil, thanks Gurkirat for making time. Gurkirat, the ever busy guy, making time from his schedule. निखिल और मेरा तो क्या ही है, हमें तो क्रिकेट ही देखना है, तो we have a lot of time always. But yeah, with that, I'll end the show now. We'll see everyone tomorrow at 1:25. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Bye. Good night.
Bye bye. I'm searching for that.